What's up, guys? Happy Saturday. Chuck Silver and DFS Jayhawk here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. We had a good one last night. Today we have a little five-gamer. Really happy that both sides cut off that first game, Charlotte at Washington. We're going to talk about that for a quick minute. That game locks in about 13 minutes. Contests were still open when I checked 10 minutes ago, on a DK at least. So talk about that. Jayhawk, how we doing?
Yeah, man, doing good. Got a fun little slate here. So excited to break this down. Bunch of key injury spot we'll talk about with Memphis, but fun slate today. Excited to break this down.
Yeah, injury. Dude, Chet left before halftime yesterday. I had so much of him, and he was doing pretty well. Started off hot and then killed us. It's just every single day, man. There's something. Had some good finishes, though, yesterday. I finished 0.25 behind first place in the night slate, so that was cool. But we had a positive day overall.
Yeah, man, that home run injury hurt, man. That was tough.
Like even more than DFS, I hate to see that guy get hurt. I just want to see him get healthy. I want to see him bulk up like Giannis, because remember Giannis was super skinny too. Jose's feeling lucky. I'm feeling pretty lucky. 3 days in a row with good profit is a heater. So let's keep it up. Amari, yeah, these injuries. It's going to be bad. I feel like we avoided injuries for a bit though. We ran pretty hot. Killian Hayes night. I was just telling Jayhawk in my current run, I have a lot of Killian Hayes. 100% Killian Hayes. Jerome, appreciate us doing weekend content. We appreciate you watching us on the weekend. Thank you all for being here. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. We really appreciate it. Tell you about Moses Brown. I'm going to sort by DK value. Moses Brown, he's top 10. Model still thinks he's good value. Remember last time he was only projected for 12 minutes and he had a 17 value. His price came way up. These are more appropriate minutes. Projected for low ownership. I think he's a risky play. I don't love centers against Milwaukee. And I mentioned last time he can't score. He scored like 20 real points. So just, proved me wrong. But we'll get into that. Do you have any favorite value plays you want to point out here besides Killian and Moses?
Yeah, nothing like stands out. Those are mainly the main ones. Obviously, we'll have Scottie Pippen later if all those guys sit. But as of right now, those are the main guys I'm looking at.
Played KP, then Denny, then and then yesterday Chet, man. Like 3 days in a row with bad injuries to 30% of our exposures is not fun. But that's why we spread out. Not because of injuries, though. I guess that has a little bit to do with it, but let's go ahead and jump into this Charlotte-Washington game real quick. I'll show you guys a single game model. Don't usually do this on stream, but since we have the one-off, pretty much the same as a regular model, just single game, obviously. So it looks like Miles Bridges at the top, LaMelo. Mark Williams came out really strong the other day. I don't know why the Lakers rescinded the trade because he looked fine, but that's cool. Anyone else you want to talk about here near the top of OF Index?
Yeah, I think those are mainly the guys. Obviously, LaMelo, I think you have to play. Great spot against Washington. But yeah, LaMelo, Bridges, probably my two favorite up top.
I mean, these three guys are probably the only captains that I would be getting to. Salaries don't look too bad to where you have to play these cheap guys. So you can probably just make a pretty balanced lineup with the best players in the game, sorting by DK value. Justin Champagnie stands out at pretty decent flex ownership. I guess if you want to jam all the studs in, you could put him at captain, maybe in some small field stuff. Well, just wanted to do that real quick. Jump into the first game of the main slate, Brooklyn at Detroit. We'll start with the Brooklyn side. Yeah, Killian Hayes, I think, is a big spot on the slate. He's probably going to be my highest exposed player today. It was kind of funny yesterday with Nick. I thought Killian Hayes was not on the model just because he was at the top of value. We've been used to seeing him at the bottom, but his value rating's going up every day, even if the price is climbing a little bit. Even on FanDuel, he's still good value. Projected for, honestly, this is modest ownership on a 5-gamer. What do you think about Killian Hayes and the rest of the Nets?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love Hayes for value. Kind of just more of we're pretty much lacking good value today. Fits a lot of our builds, so love Hayes. And then Cam Johnson's the next guy I'm getting to here. 26% owned on DraftKings. I think he makes for a pretty solid play. And then Keon Johnson, kind of wanted to hear your take. 20% owned, decent DK value. What's your kind of take here with Keon and the rest of the team?
So they are missing Trent and Watford. Cam Thomas made his return last night. He's out today, and D'Angelo Russell is still out. So there's a lot of minutes to go around. I mean, Keon Johnson, we have him projected as elite value. And on a 5-gamer, he's under 20%. We like going there. I know the FanDuel price is a little bit high, I guess, but 5,900, we can still take shots at 11%. The 5,100, though, at 18%, it kind of feels like he's going to be a pretty easy building block. I'm at about 30% right now in my exposures. We'll see how that changes by lock, but I have him for a solid projection. He has an ceiling ish, and it's a short slate. 12.5 point spread isn't great, but uh, he just fits in lineups.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. He's a solid producer as well.
Yeah, he kind of does everything. Let's go ahead here. Johnson. 30, 29, 26, 31. Remember, a couple other guys were in for one or two of those games, so maybe this minutes projection is slightly high, but I don't think he's going to play much less than that. He's fine. Is there anyone else? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I kind of want to hear your take on Jalen Wilson here. He was projecting better earlier for me today, but I think he's solid for value at his ownership. Sub 15%. Kind of just getting there. Nothing crazy for me, but what's your take there?
Well, what were you expecting the starting lineup to be today?
Killian, Cam, Keon, Claxton, Zaire.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. So Jalen Wilson off the bench. I'm under the field right now, but we do have him projected for 23 minutes. These guys' minutes is they're all kind of spread out. I mean, these guys are at 30. Everyone else, I kind of feel it's if they're playing well, they might stay on. It's the 3,400 price is why he's pulling the ownership. It's easier to fit guys in, but we have some injury news we're waiting on for Memphis, and that game starts an hour after lock. We're not going to have that news before this game starts. So I'd like to shy away from Jalen Wilson. Models telling us we can get away. I mean, at 3,400, 23 minutes, this is a pretty low value rating.
Yeah, I kind of was just neutral to him. I think he's definitely riskier off the bench.
Were you taking shots on Nick Claxton?
I want to, man. He's a good producer, but there's a lot of centers I like today, so I'm not like huge on him.
Yeah, this is a spot where if the model was identifying him as a solid value or just as anything, I'd be interested in getting over the field. But as it is right now, he's just in a 3 of my 150 lineups on DK.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect spot to be at.
And I'll mention I'm pretty over on Cameron Johnson. I'm going to go back here. We're going to take the shot. The ceiling he has. He had a terrible game last time. Projected for 31 minutes. We're just going to hope the game stays close and he has a lot to do with it.
Yep. I love Cam Johnson, both sets.
I think, I don't love having 3 nets in my lineups, but I think I'm okay with it. It's mostly going to be Hayes, Cam Johnson, and Keon Johnson if I do. And then from the other side for Detroit, I'm really only getting exposure to Jalen Duren, and then it's just kind of GPP shots on everyone else. Was there anyone on Detroit you were taking a hard look at?
I think I kind of like Azar Thompson, 14% owned. 5.1K does seem slightly cheap for him. So he's kind of another guy I'm mixing in here. But yeah, you mentioned it. I think Duren's probably the top play here.
Yeah, models identifying a sewer, Duren. Tobias and Tim Hardaway, for how short the slate is, these are still pretty good value ratings. I'd be more interested in Tobias, the 5,700 price. He's kind of a pivot off some other guys. 3 and 5% ownership. Again, it's not a great spread, but he is on the team that's favored. It's a low total. Tobias under 6K, I don't hate it. Just for the ownership, I think it's an ownership play. Cade Cunningham, 13.0 off index is very strong. DK value at FanDuel value are a little bit lower, but I mean, he's the stud of the slate, projected for under 10% ownership. What did he finish with yesterday? Because I think he had 2.5 at halftime. Is that right?
Yeah, he had a pretty good game yesterday. Let me double check that.
Pretty good game?
Sorry.
He had the worst game of his career.
Okay, sorry. My fault. 25 fantasy points. That's not going to cut it.
Well, if he, if he did in the first half what he did in the second half, he would have almost gotten there. But today he's low owned, top of the model. I mean, pretty interested in Cade Cunningham, second to Giannis.
Yeah, for me, it was just like having the value to get up to him. But he's good if he's low owned, so I like that call.
Yeah, that was a big thing yesterday. We had a lot better value, so it was easier to fit him in. But today I kind of have to force him in if I want any. But he's kind of model approved, a little expensive, but I'm kind of hoping some value opens up from at least Memphis.
For sure, hoping Memphis. Yeah, definitely.
Let's jump to this game, though. San Antonio, Memphis. We have a pretty strong total. 8-point spread, 242. It's pretty healthy. De'Aaron Fox, barely double-digit OF index, not great value. Models telling us he's a little bit overpriced. Ownership is okay, under 20%. Devin Vassell, sorry. Chris Paul. No one else is really standing out here. Do you see anything?
Yeah, my favorite guy here is actually Keldon Johnson on DraftKings, 4,700. I think he's slightly too cheap here in a super high total, healthy total, like you mentioned. So Keldon's kind of my main target. And then I think you can mix in Fox and Vassell, but I was getting the most of Keldon Johnson here.
Yep. Keldon Johnson and Chris Paul are really the only two guys I'm getting decent exposure to. And Keldon, I've been talking about it. He's been playing really well. I think this coach likes him. Popovich is not returning this season, so we're stuck with whoever this is for the next couple months. But minutes are up. We have Keldon projected for, where's our boy Keldon? 25 minutes. Sounds about right. Yeah, I guess he can get up to 29:30, but we're not projecting him for it because when he only plays 24, we're just dead. Model is not identifying him as a super strong value, kind of telling us he's a little bit overowned too, but we got to play a couple of these guys today. So I would say just be a little careful with Keldon. Minutes are very volatile, but he does stand out as a good play. I'll at least be at this 20%, I think, unless something opens up on Memphis.
Yep. I think that's good.
And Chris Paul, and this guy's like every other game. I think he's still good. I'm not sure what to think about him playing next to De'Aaron Fox. But on today's 5-gamer, take some shots. Model's telling us we can get there. I'm not sure what the model, like how much this is updated for De'Aaron Fox coming to town, but model's still telling us Chris Paul is good, so I think we can get there.
Yeah, I was just kind of trying to match the field there. He's been kind of up and down this year in terms of DFS. I have him projected like right around value. I think he looks pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't have him projected that well at all, and I'm getting a ton of him, so I might just need that player in his price range.
For sure.
Let's go to the other side, Memphis, though. This is going to get really interesting because we have some Q tags. We checked right before the stream. I don't think there were any updates. Let us know in the chat if we missed something. But Desmond Bane, Vince Williams, John Morant, Luke Kennard, and Brandon Clark are all questionable. And so, Jayhawk, did you have any leans on any of these guys in particular?
Yeah, so I think my biggest lean here is probably Jaw sitting just because of a back to back here. And then Bane as well. He played last night. I have a good shot or good feeling at least one of these guys, Bane or Jaw, sits here. And then with Luke Kennard, I think he's kind of a true 50-50. I lean Kennard plays though, so we'll have to monitor that though.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping Kennard is in, and if Jaw's out, that's going to be a spot of value I'm going to go for. He's down to 4K. We don't have him projected well right now, but he's at 22 minutes. Watch how the model updates if anyone is ruled out because someone's going to move around. Remember, you can become a member of Occupy Fantasy for as little as $1 a day. We plan starting at $7 a week. Just sign up right here. You'll get access to our daily plugs for the sports we offer it for and the model for all the sports that basically every sport in DFS. Zach Edey showing up as a top value again, 21 projected minutes. He's pulling some ownership today. I'm going to have interest at 4,400. Yeah, and then Santi Aldama off the bench. He's going to look better if anybody sits too.
Yep, I think Memphis as a whole, one of my favorite teams to target here. Zach Edey, great DK value score, good price. I think he looks awesome here. And then you mentioned it, Aldama, good ownership, should look even better if these guys sit. So love those calls.
I want to see how many minutes Aldama played yesterday. We haven't projected for 26 for tonight. Only played 21, played 32, 29, 31 a couple of games before that. So I want to see what the minutes update too, particularly if Brandon Clark is out, because I think that's going to be the biggest benefit for Santi of the guys that are questionable tonight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to look pretty good. He's projected for 16 and 15% ownership. This is probably a little bit high for the situation right now, but I want to see what it updates to when someone gets rolled out. Let's say everyone's in. Does that change anything for you? You're just this interested in everyone?
Yeah, if everyone's in, I think Edey doesn't really change either way. I still like him for value. I think Jaren Jackson, either way, looks good at his price, 7,700. Even better if those guys hit. But if everyone's in, probably Jaren and Edey, and then mixing around everyone else for me.
Yeah, so I docked John Morant a little bit and boosted Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson. If Desmond Bain ends up sitting, it'll be easy to swap, but I'm pretty over the field on JJJ, and then I'm slightly over on Desmond Bain right now. I'll bump that up even more if Jaws rolled out.
Yeah, I like that a ton.
Jayhawk, who's your favorite center?
Favorite center? Ooh,
OS wants to know.
let's see here. I'm going to say Edie for value. I'm answer double O. Edie for value, and then I'm going to say Duren. I like Duren a lot in tournaments.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm into Duren. Moses Brown's an interesting one. Jaren Jackson has center eligibility. I guess he would be my favorite one, but I prefer to have him at the power forward if I can.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Center is like we have some options, but it's really not that great tonight. They're all kind of risky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess Moses Brown, like he's a fantastic value. It's just the matchup, like you mentioned.
Who's our favorite guard tonight? Let's take a look. By value, it's Killian Hayes and Keon Johnson. Desmond Bain is a pretty strong mid-range option. Like Desmond Bain really stands out for value at his price, and this is with everybody in. So if anyone gets ruled out, I'm sure this goes up a little bit. Kelly Oubre, love Kelly Oubre. 24 and 18%. He's going to be one of my higher exposed players today too. Projected for 37 minutes is insane, but I think it's probably correct.
Yeah, man. Talk me on to Oubre because I want to play him. He's been nuking, man.
Let's see. We still have a game to go to get there. But between Cade, Maxey, Fox, Cade's number one by quite a bit. Kyrie's actually number two, and then Maxey's down here. Fox is down here. So that's a model order. This isn't like gigantic differences between them, though, so don't take this as gospel. But just, if you're, it's kind of like looking at regular projections, like Ja Morant, Tyrese Maxey, Kyrie, all project just slightly better than De'Aaron Fox. And remember, OF index isn't price sensitive, so this is just like the raw ceiling potential, basically.
Yeah, I'd probably rank them point per dollar, probably Cade, Kyrie. Oh, Cade, Fox, Kyrie, maybe, just because that's a 242 total. I like Fox a little bit more than the field does.
Let's jump to the next game, Sac and Houston. Decent total for these guys. Let's start with Sacramento. Saw a question about Malik Monk. Model's not into him, but again, I like him as a guy to just take shots on. His price is expensive, but this is probably the appropriate price for what's going on with this team right now, projected for 35 minutes. It's a 5-point spread, 231 isn't bad. What do you think about Sacramento?
Yeah, so I'm kind of just directly correlated here with the ownerships. I think all of them are fine at their current ownerships. DeMar, Monk, Keegan. I don't have like a huge stand here. I probably would lean DeRozan or Monk if I had to pick two, but it's a high total. But Houston is just not a team I love to pick on in general. So, do you have a different stand here with Sacramento?
It's just DeMar every single day has shown up as a really strong value. Today he's pulling more ownerships than Zach LaVine. The price difference, it kind of makes sense on DK. But I've been pointing this out. When Zach LaVine's owned, I love getting to DeMar as the pivot. Today, that's not the case. I don't necessarily want to pivot to Zach. I still just want to play DeMar. And then Keegan Murray shows up as a good value. I know it doesn't feel great, but for small field stuff, he's probably a really strong play at that 5,100 on DK.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good game last game too.
And you can obviously play him in a large field too. I just point out small field, he's probably a better play.
Yep.
I wanted to take a look at DeMar's game log. Like, he's not killing us. For small field satellite stuff, DeMar's a really strong play. Probably be one of my core guys.
Yeah, and like he's still like 10% is not high at all, especially on a team that's super low.
Yeah, at 7,100, you can just get to the 10%. Houston's not a team that we want to target, but 231 is still a healthy total. It's projected to be a close game. The other guy I'm getting from here is Keon Ellis. Model's projecting him as a stronger value than a couple of the other guys that we looked at. 4K, flat, 6%, 5% ownership at 26 minutes. Did I give him 26? No, I gave him a 25, but Keon Ellis, my most exposed king today, right now.
Okay, I like it.
I don't know. He's model approved, better on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. Other side of this game, Houston. We have 7 guys projected for over 10 minutes. It's going to be a really tight rotation. On FanDuel, they're all pulling more ownership. On DraftKings, not so much. I don't mind getting to Sengun, Brooks, and then I need to see what's going on with that starting lineup in Tari Eason. But we have Tari projected for 26 right now. Do you think that he's going to go back into the starting lineup?
Well, yeah, I think so. Well, didn't they say they're going to start Amen in place of Jabari? So it would be Amen, Sengun, Van Vliet,
Is that what they're
Brooks,
doing?
Brooks Green. Do you think Tari's going to start?
No, I guess not. I didn't hear that comment though, but that makes sense if that's what they're going to roll with to figure out their like rest of season lineup. I guess keep Tari off the bench, but Model still thinks he's a better points per dollar value than some of the other guys. A little bit riskier, 18% on FanDuel. I get the roster construction is a little bit different there, but it's kind of healthy. But it's probably okay. 3% on DK. Probably want to get over the field no matter what.
Yeah, I love Sengun. If you're spending all the way up, I just think this spot is super good for him against kind of a weaker Sacramento front court. So yeah, I like Sengun a lot.
Man, imagine Sengun gets some minutes against Joval in the post.
Imagine.
I have a little bit of Sengun. I'm less than this 19% right now, but I'm looking at like the rest of the centers. Maybe if we can find some value, if someone's ruled out later, we can get to more Sengun because he feels like a pretty comfortable center. Very strong OF index, elite value score for being a pay up. The ownership is there, but I think we can get to Sengun today.
We're gonna get to him, but what do you think about a potential Giannis fade and getting to just all these other lower owned mid tier plays? I think it could be real.
I'm not fading Giannis.
Okay. I had to ask and see.
I wasn't sure how much I had. I have a lot.
Gotcha.
I'll be honest. I'm going to mention Dylan Brooks again because his ownership is actually kind of high for today, but I don't mind him. I'm not quite at that 9 and 20%, but I want to make sure he's in there. And for once, the model's telling us Jalen Green is not a good value. He's been at the top of value a lot recently. Price hasn't moved that much. The ownership is there. Model's telling us we don't have to take shots on Jalen Green today, and so I guess I'm kind of listening, not really getting there.
Yeah, the rest of Houston after Sengun, it's tough for me to get to here.
It's like really the only like really good plays on the model are Sengun, Van Vliet. Thompson looks okay. He's just a little bit expensive. But at the low ownership, we can take shots on him. We know he has a ceiling in Sacramento. I mean, this is a team to take shots against, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Sacramento, very bad defensive team.
It's not hard to get over 4%.
And he's starting. So
5,100 for a forward, huh? Let's take a look.
Keegan Murray, 51.
Oh, yeah. Is it Keegan Murray? Oh, easy. Perfect play. Just making sure didn't miss any questions about this game. Can we fade this game? I don't think we want to fade any games today. There's pieces from every game that we should be looking at.
Yep, I'm not fading any today.
Quentin Post. I love Quentin Post, man. Steve Kerr loves him too. Smith. Yeah, I guess we didn't really talk about Jabari Smith. He's only projected for 2% ownership on DK, 11% on FanDuel. Expected to come off the bench, but we still have him for 30 minutes. He's been playing a lot. He burned the whole world the other day when he was Mega Chalk. Yeah. But he's probably worth more than the 3% or whatever, the 2% that he's getting. Not a great play. Model's telling us he's the worst play on the team, actually. But 2% ownership. On FanDuel, though, not good value. 11% ownership, 5,100. I mean, he's a better play on FanDuel for sure than he is on DK.
Yeah, I wasn't really getting there, but I agree. I think he'd be a better FanDuel play.
And then I guess I missed these comments about beef stew on Detroit. Yeah, I mean, we talked about we like Duren, but Isaiah Stewart is almost always a viable pivot, projected for 19 minutes. At 3,200, center only isn't great, but I guess we don't have that many centers we're in love with today, so I don't mind that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that since we like Duren, I think that also can apply to Stewart here as a backup. So I don't hate that.
But on to Golden State and Philly. We have Golden State as slight favorites. We saw Steph go off for 70-something fantasy points at 3% ownership in the worst matchup in the NBA, so that was cool. Just goes to show you nothing matters. Everyone's a GPP play on any day. 227.5 total, 8-point spread. Getting a little bit from Golden State. I am getting 10% of Quentin Post. Are you?
I was not getting there. Maybe I should readjust my 20 max, but I think he's fine. Good price, probably a better DraftKings spot. But yeah, talk to me about Golden State here. I do kind of like Draymond 16%, but I guess it'll change here if Jimmy Butler sits. So
I'm slightly over the field on Draymond if the slate started right now. I'm okay with it. He had a really good game last time. Not that that matters much for today, but they did. Or was it 2 games ago? Maybe it was the game before Steph had that blow up. But yeah, like I said, I'm getting to some Quentin Post, and I'm actually kind of surprised that the model's as okay with him as it is. 3,600 center only, 15%. This is a good DK value. FanDuel a little riskier, center only, probably would only take very few shots there, but DK comfortable using a few percentage for that. Jimmy, yeah, if Jimmy sits, who are you going to give the biggest boost to?
I feel like have we had a game without Jimmy yet on one set?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I'm kind of well. I think it just mainly gets spread out. I think Dre should get a minor bump. Maybe Pods, obviously Curry, but gets a couple more shots. What was your kind of take though with a if he sits?
We have Jimmy projected for 32 minutes, Moses for 26 and a half. He's already the top value on this team, and he looks awesome at 11%, 4,300. I got to think the model thinks he's starting if they're giving him 26 minutes. So assuming he's starting, this is one of the better lower owned value plays today, Moses Moody. I got to bump him because I wasn't quite getting there, but it's not going to be a hard adjustment.
Yeah,
I mean, Draymond, he's already projected for 30. Don't really want to project him for any more. Maybe Quentin Post gets another couple minutes. Like you said, Pods could be in line for a couple minutes. He usually plays the most. Buddy Hield. Yeah, we'll have to see how the model updates because it doesn't have Kevin Knox in here. And, contrast this to Houston. We had 7 guys projected for 10 minutes. Here we have 10 guys projected for 10 minutes and Kevin Knox, who could easily play 10 plus minutes. Just take a look at what he did in the last game. It's 2025, and we're still talking about this guy on DFS shows.
Kevin Knox.
So 2 games ago, yeah, this was that blowout game. He played 15 minutes. He put up 30 fantasy points. Last game, he only played 5 in the close game, put up 3. But if Jimmy's out, maybe he has the potential to get in there. We have him for less than 10 right now. It's probably not a great play, but he's super cheap, and we know that he has the potential to put up high fantasy points per minute. So just want to mention him since he's not on here.
I like that. Were you getting to any Buddy Hield? I know Steph Curry hates that guy, but were you getting?
Does he hate him?
I watched clips on YouTube last night. I was like, all the bad plays Buddy Hield made over the past month, and he's just ripping into him.
Stu's been waiting 10 years for the perfect opportunity to be in the perfect situation, and he is blowing it really hard right now. 3,800, 11%. I'm half the field. I have 5%, so he is showing up for me.
Gotcha.
That's about it. I mean, anyone else on this team you want to mention? Steph?
Yeah, Steph, obviously. I mean, Steph dropped 12 threes again. We got to get to Steph, right? Good matchup, so.
I got 0 in my first run. I'll have to adjust something.
Yeah, especially with the Memphis news, I don't know how much I'm going to get.
I know I want some. I don't want 0. Last time I had 2 lineups with Steph. Want more than that today.
Just don't break the slate within the first.
Right. Slate was over instantly last time, and we all knew it.
Yeah.
Post over Edie. Model saying Edie, but the thing is they both come with inherent risk, and so I think you kind of might want to go beyond the model rather than just straight looking at model value here. I mean, Zach Edie, 16.6 DK value at 4,400, Quentin Post, 3,600, and his DK value is lower. So points per dollar, model thinks Zach Edie is a stronger play. Quentin Post, lower ownership. But either way, do you have a strong preference here, Jayhawk?
I do slightly lean Edie, but I wouldn't call you crazy for getting to some Quentin Post. I mean, he still projects out pretty good on the model. So,
Jayhawk, who's LP?
LP.
Oh, Alperen Sengun. LP or Duran? I'm going to assume that's Sengun. Those are my 2 highest. Well, I think they'll be my 2 highest exposed centers today, so I'm cool with either one.
Yeah, I think both are solid.
Power likes for 5,100 going Asar versus Brooklyn over Keegan versus Houston. Might not be a bad call.
I like both. I forgot to mention, yeah, Azar is great too.
Yeah, because so like I mentioned earlier, Keegan is higher on the model, 15.9. Asar is down here, 15.2. Don't take this as a huge enough difference to just say, okay, Keegan is 100% the better play. Maybe it's like play 55% Keegan, 45% Asar, depending on your whatever to them.
Yeah. One more thing to note about that what question was that? About the center question. I do like Draymond a lot, center. I'll probably have a lot of him as well.
Oubre, George, Curry, Post, Green. Who's Paul George?
Paul George.
Is that like the core? Those all seem like good plays to me. If that's Draymond Green. Cash game plays. We'll sort by ownership. Let me do a refresh real quick. So on DK Cash, we're probably just starting with Giannis and Killian.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like we could fit in these 5 guys. And then what value are we going to have to find Jayhawk for cash?
So as of right now, it's tough. Edie, I don't know if Edie's cash, but he's like 20% owned. He's probably solid value at the moment, but it's difficult right now for sure.
Like I'm looking down to Quentin Post. Is Quentin Post good enough to play in cash? I don't play cash. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think I'd rather just get up to Edie in cash.
And then FanDuel high dollar Duran or Sengun. So by OF index, it's definitely going to be Sengun if you can find the salary. There's Duran. Duran's quite a bit down here. I mean, this is enough difference to say the model's absolute in Sengun over Jalen Duran, not considering the price. When you consider the price, Duran is a slightly better value, 14.5 versus Sengun's 14, but both strong plays.
Yep. Both strong plays for sure.
Not sure I'm confident enough to say one or the other. If you sort for FanDuel value, Sengun, Duran's much lower for FanDuel value, actually. Any Philly runbacks? Yeah, we're definitely running it back with Kelly Oubre, and I guess I'm playing Paul George. I played him last time. I was pretty uncomfortable with it, but we let the numbers talk, and luckily he had a good game. Model doesn't think he's a great play for the points, or for the salary, I should say, points per dollar. 23%, 33% ownership. He's okay, though. I am over those numbers right now. Way over on Kelly Oubre, though. One of my favorite plays of the day. Model's identifying him as a top value on this team on DK and FanDuel.
Yep, love Oubre. And then, man, if you're playing Paul George, you got me. I'll play some Paul George for the Occupy.
It's like, so 2 games ago, he put up like 33 fantasy points in the first half, and he finished with 34 or something. Yeah, like he got all of this in the first half, and he just did nothing in the blowout. But last game, he strung it together for a full game. Remember, Embiid's out for the season, so 42 minutes? Like, Nick Nurse is like, dude, we're paying you. We're going to put you to work, so we can't project him for 42. We have him for 35, like plus or minus, well, plus 7 minutes would be pretty significant. So, yeah, that's a pretty good guy. Him and Kelly Oubre going to be well over the field, I think.
Love it.
A couple percent of Quentin Grimes. He's okay as a pivot off Kelly. He's been having some bad games, so the ownership difference could be worth a couple pivots. You could just play both of them together. And then what do you think about this center situation here?
Yeah, man, it's always difficult, Philly, with their centers, minus Embiid. So I think if I had to pick one, I would go Yabu, but I'm not really getting to the Philly centers here, honestly.
I'm not getting any exposure. Drummond did have a good game last time, but his minutes were more predictable since Yabusele was out. Yabusele 27.5, Drummond 17. It's like, in general, I have interest in Yabusele, but I don't feel good about his ceiling potential here.
Yep. And I think we're getting the Memphis news right now.
Is it good?
We got, let's see, Vince Williams out, Brandon Clark out. We're waiting on John Ban.
All right. So probably a boost to Santi first. And then if Luke Kennard's in, I want to say that's a boost to him for sure, too, with no Vince Williams. Has Vince Williams missed a game recently?
I think he missed one a couple of games ago. Yeah, he's missed one.
I want to know who takes his minutes in the rotation. If someone in the chat knows, go ahead and throw that in there.
That would be incredible.
Anything else about Philadelphia?
No, I think those are all great calls. I was getting the most of Oubre, but I think I'm going to try to get more Paul George now, especially.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, model is not identifying Paul George as a very strong points per dollar value, but OF index 9.0 at the salary is okay. Good mid-range play. Now, Milwaukee, Dallas. We'll start with Milwaukee. I have 100% Giannis.
100%?
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
What do you want to do there?
I think, cash games, he's a must play. 10,800. I think there's like, I mean, it's difficult, but I think there's like a viable way. He doesn't get there if like Sengun and some of these other mid tier stud smash, and I still think like Giannis, he looks great. I'm going to have a bunch of Giannis. Maybe not 100%, but like 90% probably.
It's just the entire season he's been 11-5, 11-7, 11-4, 12,000. Why is he 10,800? This is kind of, I mean, Lucas sucks now, so it's not that similar, I guess. But
Yeah.
Giannis, like, what is this price? These price drops. They're playing Dallas. Dallas is, there's, I was going to say they're not a good team defensively. They think they're a good team defensively, though, so they probably play hard. I'm not sure PJ Washington being in or out makes a difference for me. The thing is, he's just too cheap, and even if I bump his projection down, I'm still going to get a ton. So maybe I don't go in with 100 just to spread it out. Maybe something happens, but I'm going to have a lot of Giannis. No problem paying up for him. Not interested in fading, although I understand if you do want to fade.
Yep, I think that's a perfect way to put it. And he gets to go up against Moses Brown, so he should have a good time there.
Woo. Yeah. Moses Brown's still with the Mavs, and Giannis is going to eat his lunch today.
Yeah.
What else are you looking at in Milwaukee?
So after Giannis, all these other guys, like they're in good spots in terms of matchup, but I wasn't really getting to a bunch of any of these other guys. Dame, I think he's viable both sides. 8,800, 8,700. I'm probably just gonna try to match the field here, and then the rest of the team, Kuzma, Lopez. I think they're fine. I don't have a bunch of interest there.
Yeah, Kuz, I want to have interest because we kind of know he has a ceiling. We've seen him play good basketball before, and he was a little bit more aggressive last game. 6,200 at 10%, I think, is fine. Dame, I don't think I hate playing him in lineups with Giannis, but if you're fading Giannis, then he's definitely a stronger consideration. I saw someone ask about Brook Lopez in the chat. I mean, me and Nick have been talking about it on shows. I think we just go over the field on him every day. 5,700. Dallas doesn't have a center right now. Not like Brook Lopez plays like a center anyway. He just shoots threes and he doesn't get rebounds. But under 10%, like we're not that comfortable with center. And like, how many slates recently have we had just very obvious center plays today? I don't think we have that, at least for value. Like Moses Brown, maybe, but his price came up. And so I think we can get to Brook. And then Taurean Prince, 3 and 2%. This is your low-owned Occupy model value special today.
Love it, Taurean Prince.
I don't love it, but model's saying we can take some shots if we,
Okay.
If the 4,000 helps us build some lineups. Although I'm not getting much exposure to anyone else on this team other than Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Kyle Kuzma. Not really interested in the value here.
Yeah, it's tough for value for sure.
3.5 point spread with a 229.5 total. It's not bad. They're going up against Dallas. Dallas is missing Gafford, Lively. PJ Washington's questionable, so that's going to be a big deal. But they do have Moses Brown. If PJ's out, we can probably project Moses for a couple more than 21, although I don't know if the model's going to adjust. It didn't last time. But either way, he's a very strong value right now. How much Moses do you want to get to?
Yeah, so I think, at least for me, this is probably the biggest talking point outside of Memphis here. Tough matchup against Giannis in that Milwaukee front court. But if PJ does sit, we have him in right now, but if he does sit, he's going to project out super good in models. So, yeah, I think if PJ sits, I'm going to like him probably a good chunk more. But it's just going to come down to whoever plays there for me.
So I have PJ projected in right now. I'm getting about 3x the field on Moses Brown on DK. Gave him a pretty modest projection just to see. And so I'll be comfortable if that goes up a little bit. I'd like to see PJ ruled out for me to do that. But if PJ's in 72 and 7,400, he killed me the other night. Had like a 4th place finish on that night. He scored 0 real fantasy points. And so that was cool. Or 0 real points, I'm sorry. He had like 25 fantasy points, but he did not score the ball. Ownership's a little bit high, but I think the price is good, so it's probably okay. Model is not saying he's a super strong value, but we've seen the ceiling this guy's put up.
And then Max Christie, are you buying in there once again? He was super chalk. I think was that Thursday night, Friday night. Not nearly as chalky, but are you buying in on Max Christie today?
A few percent, yeah. 7% ownership, probably be around the field. I'm not sure if he's a better play on FanDuel at 15% or not. It's a little bit more expensive, but Model still thinks he's fine for value. Not quite elite, but he's there.
Yeah, that's kind of my take too. I think he'd look better if PJ sat as well.
Dante Exum was actually the other guy that I was looking at on this team. Model doesn't think he's good, so this is a beyond the model play if you want to get here. He did play 25 last game, but if he has a potential to get up to 20 plus minutes, we already have him for 19, so it's kind of high. But no one's going to play him. It's a 5-gamer. I think we want to get over the 1%. It's not that difficult.
I like it. And then are you getting, well, how much Kyrie are you getting to tonight with all the Giannis?
I'm below the 16% right now. I kind of want to try and bump that a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be, a huge part of my exposures. Although I do like Kyrie. He's been fantastic since the trade. Really took over, stepped back into the alpha role, no problem.
Yeah, I think this is actually a decent spot here for Kyrie if you're not able to get to Giannis. So, but yeah, I think Kyrie's a solid play.
Like in theory, I'd like to have more Kyrie, but it just doesn't work.
That's true. I agree.
We haven't projected for 38 minutes. He's been playing 38 to 41, so it might seem a little bit high, but this is probably appropriate. Anything else? Benter Dinwiddie, Najee Marshall burned us.
I don't hate Najee if PJ sits, but I don't necessarily love it.
I kind of like it just looking at he kind of burned us last time. Moses Brown did well. Not that Moses Brown's pulling the ownership. Maybe if PJ's ruled out, Moses jumps, Najee doesn't jump as much. I'd be interested in getting there. But 5,200, it's not like a jump off the page price where we have to just rush to get to him. It's probably the appropriate price for the situation. Maybe a little bit cheap.
Yeah, I think he's probably about correctly priced, so I agree.
Is Kennard playing? Was he on that list?
So Underdog just has Jaw and Desmond as game time decisions. I didn't see anything about Kennard.
I'm going to kind of assume Kennard's playing since I didn't mention him at all.
Yeah.
He's got to be worth some shots.
I definitely think so, man. Especially if Jaw sits here, he's going to play a bunch of minutes.
Jayhawk, would you play Killian Hayes and Keon Johnson together?
I think it's fine. I don't know if I would run in to do it, but I think I'd be fine playing them both if you land on it.
Bane Morant or game time decisions?
Yeah.
Does large field include single entries? Yeah. Best low owned play? Pointed out a few on the show. Let's see. First one that came to mind for you, Jayhawk?
I was going to say Quinn Post.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I'm in. I like the call.
Like all these guys are not pulling much ownership. This is sorted by DK value right now. Moses Brown under 9%. This is probably going to come in higher, but Moses Booty actually might be the one. 12%. This is a really good value score. Like feel better about him at 4,300 than Keegan at 51, but Keegan's fine too.
I'm going to say also, we just said him, but Luke Kennard, 4K projected for sub 5% ownership, could become one of the best plays.
Throw out a couple other guys. Tobias Harris, super risky. Could just give you nothing, but he's slow owned. Yeah, I don't want to scroll down too far. And then let's look at guards real quick. 6K and under. Jayhawk, start thinking about who you want to throw in that dummy.
Perfect.
So 6K and under, you guys can just play with the filter here if you have access to the model. It's Killian Hayes and Keon Johnson. Chris Paul, Kelly Oubre. I feel very good about Kelly Oubre. I feel good about Keon and Hayes, and I feel okay about Chris Paul. Zaire is a pivot too, but a little bit riskier. All right, Jayhawk, who's your first couple guys in the dummy today?
Giannis and Killian Hayes.
Yep, easy game. My two highest exposed players. Love it. Killian Hayes.
Then I think Jaren Jackson, both sides I like a lot, especially if these guys hit.
Yeah, he's showing up a lot for me right now. We'll plug him in at center. We'll see how that works. I'm not sure that we love centers today. You want to get Kelly Oubre in there? He's model approved.
Yes, sir. Let's run it.
One of my favorite plays of the day, as long as he stays around 6K. This guy's going to just like next week, Kelly Oubre, what's his price going to be? It's going to be more than 6K. I'm almost sure of it. And so I feel like we're getting a discount playing him tonight.
For sure. Let's see.
Yeah.
Who are some low end guys we liked here?
We need some value more so than low owned. Do you want to slide in any of Sackety, Moses Moody, Keegan Murray, Keon Johnson, Moses Brown?
So I like ED a lot, especially since Clark is out. I think in Zaire, I think his minutes should be pretty secure here.
Played 24, 20, 25 over the last few games, so the 21 projection is probably fair. Models, I mean, it's just like he's just barely not crushing, right? Like this is fine. It doesn't kill us. It's not going to win us a tournament, but throw Zach Edey in there. Like I said, I've been waiting for the model to tell us we can play them, and today it's in a matchup that kind of makes sense for them to let them run a little bit. So 3 more spots. Do you want to throw in like a Moses Moody?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, he's
I
good
kind of.
model approved.
It's like I kind of like it a lot, and then he's going to be even better if Jimmy Butler misses. Low owned right now. Maybe the field isn't able to swap there as much if they, use all their roster spots on that Spurs Memphis game.
Yeah, love it. And then Garden forward, who are you feeling like?
We got 6,300 for 2 spots. I mean, we can do a lot with that. You want to try to fit Kyrie in? Was there a 33? Oh, I think there was a 3,400 player, right?
Was there a forward? It must be.
Oh, Jalen Wilson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't want him.
No. Is there a 3,300 guy, though? I mean, I don't think we want to play Kevin Knox like that, but
Yeah.
this is close. I guess we can't play Kyrie, but yeah, I guess you can't play Kyrie and Giannis, and the rest of the lineup, it's not super chalky. I mean, still might want to find one other piece to pivot.
You could, well, you can go Kennard, assuming you want to Boehner, Chaucids, but we don't have to.
Let's plug in Kennard at 4K at guard, 85 for a forward. Leaves us Amon.
Yeah, super low on them.
Yeah, so maybe I guess these last 2 spots you can have some fun with, but the rest of this, this is all model approved. How high was JJJ?
I thought he's pretty high.
On value, OF index. Oh, I have it sorted wrong. That's why. Yeah, Jaren Jackson. Yeah, so all of this super model approved. I think this is a pretty good core. Our cores have been crushing it. If you guys have been, incorporating this into your process. So, hope it does well again today. Jayhawk, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Nope. Fun slate tonight. Just be on your toes and watch for this Memphis news.
Oh, shout out to you, Funky $40. Beef Stew at 3,200, I think was the guy I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Real quick, Asar or Cam Johnson for a GPP. I think the model has them both pretty close. Asar is a little bit higher, but it's essentially a coin flip. So maybe it depends what you can do with that $1,000.
Yeah, Cam Johnson's going to be pretty chalky. I think Azar is like the better low on play.
And then ZA is 3 nets too much. Keon, Killian, Cam. So from a game theory perspective, it's absolutely okay. Just be a little careful. We might get some news later, and you might want those roster spots, but I'm not setting any kind of rules to prevent it. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Jayhawk's going to talk for another 25 minutes in the Discord. Instructions to join that are in the description below. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. We really appreciate you guys being here. Good luck tonight.